This is also the time of year when families and friends come together to indulge in good food and enjoy traditions. According to a new survey by USA Today Blueprint, out of 2,000 participants, the most popular time to eat Thanksgiving dinner is in the afternoon. 14% said they eat between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. About 3% eat before noon, and just 1% said they eat after 9 o'clock at night. Now, regardless of when you eat, according to my next guest, it's all about what you eat and why. Joining me now is Quinn Miller Murphy. She's an educator and the author behind a new children's book called What Did My Ancestors Eat? Quinn, your book is set to come out the first of the year, but it's a great time to talk about things now. I mean, families are going to be gathering around the Thanksgiving dinner table. People are going to be eating. What made you want to write this book, and why a children's book?
Yeah, I think a children's book just is kind of what was in the cards for me. I studied education in school. I have a master's in education. I grew up around a lot of kids, and I also grew up in a community where food was the center of everything that we were doing. Food was crucial to every family gathering, to every holiday. You were either helping in the kitchen or you were getting kicked out for being in the way. So this story really talks about those connections that we have to our family and then also to our ancestors, to family we've never met and maybe don't know that we have through food and meals.
What kind of food traditions are we talking about? People hear ancestors, they immediately going to think about their ancestors, right? But everybody has ancestors, and there's all kinds of traditions and cultures. Which ones are in the book?
Right. So the book mirrors my own personal heritage. My dad is black and my mom is white. Obviously, being black in America means that there are limits to what we know about that ancestry. We know that my people were enslaved and brought from West Africa, and then we know that they were in Louisiana for a long time. So those are the kinds of foods that I'm talking about is West African foods, the influences that things like jollof rice have, but then also my mom's side, which is Irish and Scottish, and the things that we brought over from them, basic breads, soda breads, things like that, that are this amalgamation of my two cultures in this book. The story started with that connection between jollof rice and jambalaya, and I thought, what other things, do I eat or are in my daily life that I use? What spices, what grains, what starches are used every day that I don't think about as being something special, but it was really this like connection that I have to people who I haven't met. So potatoes is a huge one, being Irish. And then a lot of spices and bases for foods that we continue to eat today that are, in the kind of black tradition of holiday meals.
I think about uh, children and how many of us don't have the benefit of knowing exactly where we're from or exactly, who our ancestors were. But I also think about those children who do and how much pride they have, how much they're willing to share, how much it shapes the kind of adults they become. What are the benefits of a child knowing their origins and knowing their ancestors? And not just like names and family trees, but the kind of stuff you're talking about.
Oh, that's a good question. I think that there is kind of an assumption when you're mixed that there are two halves of a story. That, I'm black and I'm white. And I think that to a portion of me, that is true. But I also think that being mixed is kind of this third thing, where my experiences don't necessarily align with, 50% of what white people experience and 50% of what black people experience. And this book has helped me to think about that more as an adult. I didn't have books like this growing up where there were mixed race characters that I could relate to and think about that ancestry. So now I've written this book, and hopefully it can be that tool for kids who are like me, who are mixed kids and come from a family with mixed heritage. But hopefully it's also an introduction to other kids as to, this is what families look like. Families can look like a million different
Yeah,
things.
absolutely. I know you got to run because you got to start preparing for Thanksgiving. But before you go, what would you say is one of your favorite food traditions? What's one of the things that stays in your mind?
One of the best ones and funniest ones I think is I unfortunately am a vegetarian, so a lot of the foods that I write about in the book are not foods I'm actually eating, but it's also a testament to what community and smell and being in that environment is like. And my grandpa used to cook collard greens and cook them with a big pan, and it always had bacon fat in it, which means I wasn't gonna eat it. But that smell, I think, is one of my favorite sense memories.
Wow. You know, so often it's not just the visual, it's the smells, it's the sight.
Mm-hmm.
Those it triggers something. You know, you can go into a restaurant or somebody's house and it takes you right back to your childhood. It takes you right back to a powerful moment
Yeah.
in your life. And I think you're going to trigger that for a lot of people when they read your wonderful book. It's called What Did My Ancestors Eat? It'll be available in bookstores in January. Quinn Miller Murphy, I want to thank you so much for joining me. And everybody, as always, grab the book, but if you can, grab it from a black-owned bookstore. All right, family, we have reached the end of the show, but before I let you go, I want you all to have a happy Thanksgiving. I want you to be with your family and your loved ones. But just remember, Thanksgiving can also bring out the ugly side of families. The fights about who's cooking what time dinner's going to start. And somewhere in America, somebody is calling the fire department. Why? Because they insisted on frying a turkey inside the garage. What are we going to do this year that's different? I'm going to tell you. One, start dinner on time, y'all. Don't tell people it's going to be at noon or 2 or 3 o'clock and it starts at 9 o'clock when the Cowboys are already losing the game. Don't fry the turkey in the garage. And damn sure don't fry the turkey in the garage at nighttime in the dark. Let's have a good, healthy Thanksgiving. Let's be together. Let's love each other. Let's not drink too much. And if we do, let's not drive. And let's use this as an opportunity not to think about the crimes of our colonizers, but to think about hope and love and family and togetherness.